This is my audience, my siblings, and then my parents. And these are my 3-note cards. The process to becoming a canine officer. Would you ever put your life in the paws of a dog? You may not know it, but people are doing that on a daily basis. A canine officer is on call 24 hours a day to help keep the community safe. In this speech, I will be informing you guys of the education that is needed to become a canine officer, the qualities that the canine and the officer must have, and the responsibilities that they will be performing together. Right now, I'm working as a vet tech, but my goal is to become a canine officer. Ever since I was little, I have wanted to help serve and protect the community and my country. I love dogs, and I have several years of experience working with them in a professional and non-professional environment. After I complete this speech, I hope that you will have found a newfound respect for canine officers and their partners. I will begin with the extensive education that is required for canine officers. A regular police officer needs an associate's or a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. A canine officer needs a master's degree. After you complete your college education, you have to go into the police academy, which is 6 months of training in basic police duties, firearm safety, and basic police and criminal procedures. You have to serve for 2 to 4 years as a street officer before you can apply to become a canine officer. As you begin your street officer work, it is recommended that as soon as you leave the police academy, you tell your supervisor exactly what you're expecting. You're expecting to become a canine officer. That way they are looking at your qualities as your work as a street officer and know that you would be a good canine officer. The website careerprofiles.info also tells us that another good way is to volunteer as a decoy for a police academy. This is a decoy person with the arm, and this is a canine in training. It kind of shows you that you're brave enough to be on the force and work with that type of dog. It's also recommended that you do a ride-alongs with the canine officer and his partner, and that way you kind of get the feel for everything that's required and what they do. After you're accepted into the canine program, you have to take an additional handling course and be training with the canine that you are partnered with. You have to make sure that you trust your dog and your dog trusts you, and that you're comfortable when working out in the field together. If you make it through all required education and all the extra stuff, you have to ask yourself, have I got what it takes to become a canine officer, and am I able to do this job honorably and have people's lives in my hand? So what are the qualities of a canine team? A canine dog must have good scent capabilities and high intelligence. They have to be athletic when they're chasing down culprits. The Ponderosa Ranch estimates that a canine, after cost of training and the cost of the dog, is around $20,000 per canine. The officer's qualities must include flexibility. They are on call 24/7, and that can put a lot of strain on an officer who has a family. They must be able to think quickly in situations where it's needed, where they have to think about the safety around them. They're also required to be very athletic because they have to follow their canines, and the canines have to follow them. So it's very physical. If you think about your qualities and know you're able to handle yourself in situations, these type of situations, you would know that you would be a good canine officer. The last thing is responsibilities that the canine team needs. The canines are trained in about 3 different situations. They are never cross-trained. So the first is detector dogs. They find drugs and explosives. Drugs or explosives. They can't find both. They work in mostly populated areas such as public transportation, airports, schools, anywhere that has a high population that's a risk to an attack. The second is scent dogs. They find evidence or people. They usually work on active crime scenes or they are called upon to help in disaster situations, to provide relief, and to help find bodies. The last is patrol dogs. They help create a safer environment by being a deterrent for the criminals. They also do crowd control and help with rioting. The U.S. Police Canine Association referred to these patrol dogs as find and bite dogs. Officers tell them to go find a person. They usually give them a scent object, usually a piece of clothing. The dogs find them and they bite their arm or leg and hold until an officer is there to make an arrest and to call the dog off. Have you been convinced to look more into this career? People who are in this job are respected first responders in the community. All law enforcement personnel deserve the utmost respect, even when they have 4 legs. It's simple, but it's a long process. The education takes up to 6 years by itself, and then you must think about your qualities and understand your responsibilities to both your community and to the people on the force that you're working with. I hope I was able to inform you of one of the options on how you can become a canine officer, one who serves honorably and gains the respect of the community. Thank you.